We can at least take a shot at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what, a week ago?
About that, yeah.
We watched Downsizing, which we'd wanted to see in the theater. But what's funny is we saw the trailer, and then the trailer was rated R, and we're like...
Every time we saw it, we'd be like, why is this rated R?
So, if you watch
So
the trailer,
weird.
the trailer makes it look like there's this new scientific idea that if mankind has shrunk down to size like this, that we'd use a lot less resources, we could live in tiny communities together, we'd be able to all have mansions and wonderful big places, and consume a lot less stuff so that we'd be better for the environment, which is fine. And I saw that and I thought, oh, okay,
Well, that's
maybe.
an interesting idea.
And I thought
yeah.
maybe we'd have like a Honey, We Shrunk the Kids kind of thing, where
Yes.
they'd be, flying around on ants or whatever, something
Yes,
fun.
and we actually talked about how that sounds like it could be a fun movie to
And
watch.
that we had
with the
expected it
kids.
to be fun, but the rating kept throwing us off. That the rating was rated R, and I'm like, why is this rated
Yeah.
R?
We did frequently after watching it. Why is this
And then
rated R?
I saw the actual rating, and I'm like, so there's coarse language, and then it said graphic nudity. Now, graphic nudity means you're actually showing male parts. That's a warning that's considered graphic. You can get naked, but hey, that's too naked for Hollywood. That's too naked. Don't be that naked. And you got to give guys a warning, like, hey, you might see something dangling around you don't want to see. So this is the dangle warning.
Dangle war.
That's what it is, the dangle warning. And then, so we watched it last week, and we knew we wanted to watch it, but it is completely different than the trailer makes it out to be.
Totally different movie.
It's
It
nowhere...
is not the movie that I saw in previews.
All of the fun preview stuff, that's in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then it's this dark,
It is.
depressing,
Yeah.
meandering...
I mean, it's interesting.
It's interesting, but the tone
And they throw in a
changes
lot of ideas.
quickly.
Oh, yes. Very, very fast, where we're watching it and we're going, oh no. Oh, is this what they're doing? Oh no.
Because I picked up on it right away. Remember, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I know what's going to happen. Oh,
But there
no.
was, before that, we were doing well, I guess this could be what the problem is, because we were trying to figure out what is going to be the plot of this movie. Because it can't just be they shrink. So there was they talked about the political repercussions of little people.
And they never got into that.
The little people could have less of a vote. Yeah, that was not
That
really
just
touched
disappeared.
on after that.
That was gone.
But it was one of those, well, maybe that's it. And then there was the talking about climate change and stuff like that.
And
so,
that's sort of a red herring.
Right.
It's there, but it makes it look like everybody's crazy.
Yes.
And crazy.
It...
And from here, I'm going to say this. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the movie, we would probably recommend that you watch it for watching something different. If you like to watch a European-style movie, this is a very European-style movie.
Yeah.
It is a lot of European actors. It's very European in its flavor. And it is good enough that I would recommend people watch it.
Yeah, it was a good movie, and it was interesting.
But spoiler
and it
alert.
brings up interesting ideas.
5, 4, 3, are you still here? Because after I get down to 0, spoilers are starting. 2, 1. If you wanted to see it and you haven't yet, you probably won't care about spoilers. But here we go. So he gets shrunk down, and his wife doesn't get shrunk down with him.
Yeah. And
But-
when they get shrunk, there's a whole lot of penis, and there's a scene full of penis that we were both just like, oh!
There's the R rating.
Yes!
There's your
It was like,
rated R.
And that's why it was so unnecessary.
Yeah, that's why it's rated R.
But it was
Right there.
so unnecessary.
And then there's
Well,
scenes where people
no,
swear.
There are other reasons.
But there are
yes.
people swearing that doesn't match the rest of the movie's dialogue at all.
Right.
So this is why
That-
we're talking about Zapped to remind us this, because it felt like there was stuff that got tacked in there that
Wait.
if you'd pulled that out,
Yes.
you would have had a
they
PG
could have
rating.
Absolutely, very
And it would have made
easily
so
made
much
it
more
PG.
money.
Yes.
Would have made so much more money.
Absolutely.
And Matt Damon's there, and he's in his mansion for 5 minutes of the movie,
yes.
and then he's working at a call center, and he's living in an
They
apartment.
didn't quite explain some of this stuff. Yeah, they kind of.
How did he lose his mansion? Because he
Wait, did we miss a scene?
he gets divorced, and then the thing that threw me off was there's tonal issues. So there's this very serious thing that he's being divorced by his wife, who's still big.
And he
she
never
decided not
gets
to
to
shrink
see
down.
her or talk to her again.
Yeah, she's just gone.
He talks to her on the phone once, and that's it.
And then
Other
after
than
that,
there's a lawyer and he signs a paper.
and that's where it gets weird, because he's signing the divorce
all of a
paper.
sudden, he's in a different place.
But they make a big deal about his signature being tiny because he's small, and I'm thinking, is this really the place to put the joke in there? Because he's kind of upset over his wife leaving, and then I'm thinking, okay, so there'll be some kind of a levity thing in this? Nah, not really, no. And then Christoph Waltz is upstairs, because Christoph Waltz is awesome. Please put Christoph Waltz in every single movie ever.
Explain that all of a sudden we're like, wait, he lives at that apartment. He's not in his house now. He's in an apartment. And you see he's working at a call center.
Yeah, because that's like 6 months later. They're like 6 months later, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, all right.
Now he's at a call center, so I guess he doesn't have any money anymore. The wife took all of it? Is it because he's tiny, so he gets tiny? Like,
right, that didn't quite make sense. Because even if they were getting divorced and she got half of it, then he still would have had quite a bit of money.
He would have money to get at least a regular house, not necessarily a mansion.
For little people money.
Because remember, they live in like Barbie dream house sized
so it
houses.
takes a lot less money to buy a house because there's a lot less supplies needed and such. So
which makes total sense.
A lot of, when they would sell their home, they would then have the equivalent of millions of dollars. And so a lot of them wouldn't then have to work. If they had a home before, they were able to sell it, then when they get shrunk, then they have a lot to live off of.
And they show him getting taken to his mansion when he realizes his wife's leaving him. And yet there's no payoff, really. He's a fish out of water, and they're in this whole thing of him getting used to being small, and then that's just dropped.
Yes.
That's just dropped. 6 months later, and it's like, wait, I want to see more of this fish out of water thing. I wanted to see more of the guy who dropped him off in the cab, Uber thing. I wanted to see more about these little mini cars they have to share between them.
See, yeah, they could have done so much more with
I thought it was going to be, okay. I thought what they were going to do was that it was going to be his wife breaks up with him, and then they were going to show like sort of this tragically comedic thing that happens with him, but he'd go on this emotional, spiritual journey that doesn't require going forward in time at all. He could still be in the mansion. Maybe he runs into some woman that likes him, and he's like, I'm not divorced yet. And it's this awkward, weird thing.
Right.
And she could have come back to visit him when she's still big, and they could have had this. And nothing like that happens. They fast forward, and then they have to go to Norway.
Yeah,
after he's helped the Vietnamese lady out.
So he has an upstairs neighbor, and he goes to the sex
Christoph Waltz,
because he's annoying him because they're so loud, and his upstairs neighbor has an insanely huge apartment.
It's like the whole floor,
and all these people, and they party,
and other floors above it.
Super drunk or stoned or something.
They never explain the drug the girl gives him. And you never see her again.
Right.
It's just he gets completely stoned out of his mind, and then there's no consequences.
Up, yeah.
I thought, okay, now he's going to be late for work, and there's going to be some comedic set, and no.
No, he just wakes up on the floor and meets the girl.
The Vietnamese girl that he's destined to fall in love with.
He'd seen on the news.
So
because she'd
been shipped in a box, in a TV box.
Yeah.
Cool.
And lost her leg.
And she
was
got
the only one that survived.
Buggered, and she survived, and she lost her leg, and so he's a doctor, he's a therapist.
He had like gone to a little bit of school to be a doctor.
He's been a sports therapist or something.
Yeah, but all the good doctors hadn't been shrunk to be little people because they have good jobs. So only the kind of crappy doctors get shrunk. And so there's a lack of doctors.
And they don't get into that at all.
No, there's a lot of stuff that they just kind of touch on.
It's a gag thing just to be an excuse for him to go into this slum area with all these small, for lack of better term, it's like this illegal workers area where they can just give them all a slave's wage. Yes. And they don't really get into that either. No, so you're like, oh, there's going to be this whole social, economic... Not really.
Right.
It's almost played for gags, and then not quite, and then he goes in, the Vietnamese lady brings him home, she says, okay, pretend to be a doctor, my roommate's dying. And then he tends to her a little bit and gives her a bunch of painkillers, and then she died.
The next, she is dead. Yeah. What happened to her?
Where's your roommate?
She died.
She's dead. She died. And that's it.
It was really...
And then he falls in love with the Vietnamese lady, which is weird. I know what they're going for there, but I thought it was really kind of heavy-handed.
Yes.
Because she didn't seem interested in him romantically until all of a sudden.
No.
She just treated him like he was stupid.
Yes.
And then, okay, now we're going to have sex. And then she was throwing F-bombs out every 2 words at the end, just for laughs.
Yes.
Which is weird, because at the end, they're with this suicide cult thing. Well, they're not a suicide cult. They're a cult that say, okay, the world's coming to an end. There's been this methane gas release at the Antarctic, and therefore the world is going to come to an end.
So now, we need to go live in a cave
so we're going to live underground
3,000 years, and then we can come out when the world is safe.
Which doesn't make any sense.
We're going to repopulate the Earth with us and our cave people for 3,000 years.
And they're many people. So remember, these aren't full-size people, they're many people.
Why they were going there. Because he said that they had to go there, and he had to help. And it seemed like that was an excuse to get him away from the Vietnamese lady. Didn't it? When they first said that, well, we have to go on a trip, and he has to come with us. To me, it sounded like they were trying to get him away from her.
Yes.
Because they didn't want him a part of this poor group.
The idea of getting him over to Norway, where this group was just to get him away from hanging out with the lower class and being forced to clean apartments for a living. And then there actually is a reason to be there, and then all of a sudden they're really nice to her after kind of being dicks to her.
It wasn't a reason to be there.
Kind of.
It was for them to explain.
Coincidentally, the world's coming to an end right now.
Why were they there?
Okay.
Why were they there?
To be there.
Right. They were just there to see
and then when they go back to not Vegas,
they didn't even take anything or give them anything or help them in any way.
I didn't look at where this was filmed, but a lot of it looked like Vegas.
Yes.
And a lot of it sort of felt like Vegas. There's the one casino hotel that they're outside of, and I'm like, casino and hotel in one kind of feels like Nevada.
Yes. And the airport.
And the airport looked like a Nevada style, and I mean, could have been Reno, could have been New Mexico or Arizona too, sure, maybe, but it kind of felt like Vegas. And it's a movie that feels like it wants to be funny, and it wants to be thought provoking, and it wants to tell an environmental story. And they mixed it all into one.
Way too much in there.
Here, we'll just all these ideas will make a nice cohesive ball, and you throw it, and it just all kind of falls into different, and they don't.
That one they tried to put way too many storylines.
Yes.
And it really did, and the ending was awful.
Oh, the ending was
terrible.
terrible.
I was just like, wait, that's where they're gonna end it?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
Because it's a European movie.
I thought
nothing got fixed.
No.
Nothing.
No, and
he's still leading a crappy life with the Vietnamese lady, and they're still trying to help people in the slums.
Yes, but they were doing a crappy job of it.
Yes. Because he's not a doctor.
I thought, though, that he didn't have to be a doctor. What they were doing is they were getting food from, like, restaurants and stuff that they hadn't sold, and then they were taking it to the slums and delivering it to specific individuals.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe they're going to do something with this. Maybe they're going to organize something and make people aware that there is this community of people that were made little, because she was made little because she was a prisoner, like a political prisoner or something like that.
Yes, so the idea is that in certain societies, after this technology is created, if you come out against the government and you speak against government, they'll just shrink you right down and just, you're discarded. You're no longer a full-size human being. They don't do anything with that either.
No. So I thought that he was going to then make the rest of the little community aware that there is this other part of the world, because they had to go outside of the wall to get to the slum apartments for these people that had no medical, no food, they had nothing. And some of them would come in and do like
clearly
the
didn't
work
know.
and everything.
He clearly didn't have a clue.
Right, he had no idea where when they were driving towards the wall. And then I thought he would like organize some system to get them food. Because the slum is like this weird indoor area apartments, and it has a middle court, and everything. And I even said, well, they could just set up the tables right there, put the food out, and here, everybody come eat food. And they could have made some system where all these restaurants and stuff were sending the food there.
Yep.
And I thought that's what they would do. No. It's just raining, and here's food for this one guy. The end.
Yeah.
Wait.
Not that the raining made any sense either.
No.
Because the raindrops should have been humongous.
Well, yes, that was another thing that we pointed out. The rain, and so they have like a mesh over
a strainer. It's almost like a strainer.
But see, that wouldn't work. Even if the rain is going onto this mesh, then the water droplets would join together before they had enough mass to fall. Yeah. They wouldn't mist and make the same size rain in proportion to us. So that didn't make sense either. Because I thought, oh, it's raining, so they're gonna have trouble with this.
No, it's nothing.
Like in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where there was the water from the sprinkler, and it made
it's sort of like
no.
Yeah, it's the European version of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's this.
But they skip all the stuff that you would think. Like the only thing that I could think of, I mean, it's been a week, so you would think that they would have more things dealing with going from one size and living in this world that's a size and being shrunk way down was the rose.
Yeah.
What else was there?
Yeah, they
didn't have to deal with, even when they went to where'd they go in Europe?
Norway.
They went to Norway.
Because we pointed out with the boats. I said having a boat that's like this big. A boat that's this big
so in Norway, a lake. They
little ripply waves would be huge for them.
Yes.
And that nothing happened.
So long to get anywhere.
And they just...
But there was no difference being small there.
No.
Except for the one spot where they're like walking through the jungle looking area.
Yeah.
Where you can see everything's big. Other than that, no difference.
Yeah. It definitely felt like...
Like even the grass. Like you would think where they were, their little community. It wasn't in a little community. It was like little fairy houses by the water. But they didn't even have, like, big grass.
But this, when we watched it, then I could kind of understand why this movie didn't do particularly well at the box office. It was released on Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
No.
But the trailer makes it look like it's kind of a fun little Christmas-themed movie. It was a
completely different movie.
Makes it look almost Disney in the way that it's presented.
Absolutely.
So the trailer lies, and it ends up being a lot
darker.
They
just didn't sell the movie that they had.
I think they looked at the movie and they went, oh, what the hell is this? And they decided, okay, we'll just sell it as something fun. We'll show all the comedic characters that are from the start of the movie, and we'll sell it that way. And it doesn't go anywhere.
No. It wasn't a bad movie. It was an interesting movie.
But it was 3 different movies mushed into one.
It was very oddly put together. It didn't...
Christoph Waltz needs his own series. He needs a talk show.
It was an odd movie.
He needs his own series. He needs everything because he's Christoph Waltz and he's amazing. And I've felt that way since Inglourious Bastards, and I feel that way now. He is fan-flipping-tastic. Everything he's in, even if the movie sucks, he's very good. And in this case, he was fantastic. He's the neighbor upstairs. Mm-hmm. And he's just awesome. Absolutely amazing in this movie. Although his character's not very consistent.
No, it was another weird one.
He doesn't care in one scene, and then in the next he's very deep and very concerned, and then in the next one he's back to being a jerk.
He had the prescription drugs. Remember, and that's how the main character meets the Vietnamese girl.
She's
in the room taking all the prescription drugs. Oh no, he says I can have them because they're expired.
And then we find out that she's not lying.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, she's got to be lying about that. This is going to go somewhere. She's going to get fired. And then we're going to see he's going to have to take care of her when she gets fired. Nope.
No, nothing
comes of that. Which then doesn't make any sense to why she's in the bathroom doing it in a weird way. She would just say to him, he would have that ready.
Yep.
He wouldn't want somebody rooting through his drugs. He'd be like, hey, here you go. I'm paying you with this.
Well, see, no, I think it was supposed to be that as she's cleaning, if she sees expired ones, she takes them.
Yeah, but I still
wouldn't.
Once they're
expired, she's allowed to take them. But then there was the food. Same thing with the food, where she's taking it, and then he's just like, oh yeah, take all of it, because we're leaving on this trip.
And then
she's going, and it was
she just
odd.
goes. And it's too bad, because she was fantastic, too. fantastic actress. Her name slips my mind right now. Fantastic actress. The character itself was fun. If the movie was just about her,
she was an
and if
odd
it wasn't about her
character,
being
though.
shrunk, if it was about her being sent out of Vietnam, living in the United States in some kind of a slum area, and trying to live life after being kicked out of her country for being a political operative, whatever you want to call it, I think that would have been a good movie just by itself. No Matt Damon, none of that other crap. Just
Right.
movie about her struggling to survive, and you could have had some good jokes in there and some good moments.
She was tricky, though, because at first I couldn't tell if they were making fun of the character or not.
There's definitely some
'Cause
insensitivity in the way the character's brought across.
Yes, and I couldn't tell if she was a joke or not.
Yeah.
And later you realize that no, she's not a joke character. This really is her character, and she's one of the main characters of the movie. But the way she talks and her accent and her mannerisms, yes, it is so stereotypical.
And her lines are delivered to induce laughter.
Yes.
So since her lines are meant to induce laughter, and Matt Damon always looks like he wants to die in every scene, they don't really match.
No.
At all. So
No.
when they suddenly are romantic, I'm like,
Wait. What?
okay, I guess they're sleeping together now. Why are they in love? It's the When Harry Met Sally thing, that if you put a male and a female in a room long enough together, they'll just fall in love with each other. It's just not.
That's not how that
a
works.
thing. It's not a thing. And
No.
Stockholm syndrome may happen, but the actual falling in love thing doesn't. And I'm not advocating kidnapping somebody you care about either, because that's not a good way to show you care.
It's a different movie.
That's probably a better movie. I would honestly give Downsizing a 6 out of 10. I would give it a 7 for its ambition and a 5 for its execution. So for me, it comes out at a 6.
Yeah, it's really hard to rate it. It was an interesting movie, and there was
It got really good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience reviews were mostly positive.
It's an interesting movie, and it brings up a lot of really interesting ideas.
But it doesn't do anything
But
with it.
it tried to fit too much in. And I just thought it was so weird how they just put in all this little stuff. Like that party they go to, and the guy talks about the little people voting and how they shouldn't be equal. And they use this much less of the resources, so why should they
You're
get
not
the
going
same
to pay
amount
taxes.
of say?
You shouldn't be allowed to
and they're
vote.
not paying taxes, so why should they be able to...
Go on.
And that was it. It was just this one guy and this one little paragraph he had.
And then there's one
That's
scene,
the end of it.
one scene where they're watching the news and they talk about how terrorists and how small people, it could be
Yes.
terrorists, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
right.
could be used by ISIS, and then
He could be,
it doesn't go anywhere,
The little people could be brought in, and we wouldn't even know that they were coming in.
and it doesn't
And that
go
was
anywhere.
The end of that.
Although, honestly, if people are shrunk down this big, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. That was my problem with that theory.
No. See, and I thought it was more they could be for information gathering.
Okay.
They'd be able to get in anywhere.
Okay, that makes
You
sense.
could think about it. You could get one into the White House, and you'd be able to hide them really, really easy.
You can hide in plain sight in the White House right now.
But that was my thought with
Just saying.
that. But again, it was another one of those. That's the only thought brought in there.
Yeah,
That's
was
the end of that.
Yeah, it
And
just it was really ambitious, and it might have worked better if they'd done it as a mini series on TV.
Yeah,
where you
could be really
you could have the
interesting.
first part about shrinking down and getting used to being in society. The second part could have been about the Vietnamese lady, the slums you don't see. Matt Damon's character doesn't even show up in that part.
The movie with just that, where it talked about how they sell it as this place where you will have a lot of money. They could
It's
even
a bait and switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go to live there, and it's like a class system.
Yep.
But then
Or
they
if
threw
Matt
in
Damon
the
got there and they
weird
would have said,
cave
"You're not getting a mansion." Well, I'm not
Right, or they
No.
could have got there and it's a Barbie dream house, like an actual Barbie dream house, and it's crap. Because really, that doesn't quite make sense. Because yes, it uses less supplies, but can you imagine building that tiny little house?
And having to do all the staining and
yes,
all the little tiny
wouldn't,
pieces.
Once you got to be that size and you looked at it, it wouldn't look like it was very good quality.
No.
Because where in our eyes things are matched up, you'd be little and, okay, these walls aren't even square, or this table...
See, and then, like...
Where are these tiny nails?
So you keep your wedding ring, because nothing metal will shrink down. You can't have anything metal. So they bring his wedding ring to the house. And then I thought, when the wife divorced him, I thought, he can sell that ring and get a ton of money for it in little people money.
Can you imagine the diamond
in little people money? I'm like, okay, so he'll be fine because he has to sell it, and maybe they'll have a scene where he has to sell the ring, and it'll be awkward, and they'll have like a whole bunch of wedding rings, and they'll talk about how other spouses didn't shrink down either. No. It's just never seen again. It's played for a comedic laugh of, look at this giant oversized ring, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
And
there was so much just odd.
It was sort of like how they shaved him. And I thought, okay, so we're shaving him, but the hair follicles are still there. So...
I don't know what the purpose of shaving was.
I thought it was just so we could see Matt Damon without eyebrows. And so that we'd have the funny scene after where the wife calls him and she has one eyebrow. When I saw her with the one eyebrow, I thought, that's why they shaved him. So they could get that moment where the wife's calling him and she's got one eyebrow.
Well, and they had the funny scene of the nurse shaving him.
But again, the point of it was lost on me. Because your fingers don't change size, so why would your hair change size?
Right.
So if I'm shrunk down, why would my hair not shrink? It's organic.
Right.
It's, I get this. I get the fillings being pulled out as well because they're not organic and they'll make your head explode. But... Why do they need to shave the hair off? It doesn't... It's just... I didn't get it. And that was what put off his wife. Was the getting shaved part. And they're like, oh, I can't be here. Okay. And then that's...
Well, I don't think it was shaving that made it. I think shaving made it really click in all of those... Real. Yes. How they listed, these are all the possibilities, and this percentage of people die from it. And starting to shave, she was just like, oh, crap.
They never get into people dying from it either.
Except for the husband whose head exploded.
But they played that for a laugh.
Yes.
That was written in a way to make it kind of like a laugh, but
it is
tragically.
Raining really hard.
Yep. Welcome back, rain.
I don't know if the mic's picking that up, but it is raining really
hard. That's gonna be fun for meetups. Just everybody play hockey with an umbrella. But yeah, so... I'd give this movie a 6.
If they took out the cave people...
Notice I'm not talking about the cave people, because that was just silly.
It was so weird.
It was just silly.
It was so bizarre, and how he just fell right in line with that.
He really, really quickly fell in line with that.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was drinking the Kool-Aid right away.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have that Kool-Aid, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Jim Jones hasn't even said anything yet, and this guy's already drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right? That's what it was, too.
We haven't even started the ceremony yet, and he's drank half the Kool-Aid.
That was so weird. The cave thing was...
Yeah.
And it didn't fit. It was... I still don't understand the point of that whole scene. The movie could have done without it, and would have done so much better.
Them going underground was meant for that comedic moment when they blow up the dynamite and you see a little rock just go pink.
It did exactly what I said it was gonna do.
And again, you're in this movie where you're supposed to really care. It's supposed to be serious, and then they do this hammy.
It's like
little rock falling in front of a little tiny hole thing.
It's like they made more than one movie, and we're like, no, we can't do 2 movies out of this. Let's just take the best parts from both of them, and that'll be our movie.
I wouldn't want to see the parts they cut out.
I know.
I don't get it.
Because it's like they made that fun version of a guy being shrunk and going to this new world, and then the serious one that talks about the social aspects and all of that, and they joined them together. And
it's too bad because
it doesn't even flow.
Matt Damon's a fantastic actor, and I thought he was pretty good in this. Matt Damon's a better actor than he gets credit for. And I thought he did well. I thought all of the acting in this movie was really well done. It's just the script meanders so much.
The storyline was quite odd, and it was missing the whole
tonal shift. Just boom.
But it kind of did the. And now we're gonna go over here.
I'm not even sure what I would
and,
qualify as the
hey,
climax of the movie, because
the cave.
no, that's not the climax
It
of the
is.
movie.
It is though.
That's not. That
Then
can't.
what
That
would-
shouldn't.
But it is. Him when he's in the cave and he's following the people, and then he
Realizes
does
he's
turn
in
around,
love with the.
and he runs, and you
Vietnamese
can
girl.
tell that he's still going the way of the people, but then he's at the door, and you're like, that's not the direction he was running in. You could tell in the cave. But that's the climax.
Yeah. She's right. That was the climax of the movie. It was.
Not that the rest of the movie built up to it or anything.
No. No.
Nor did it have anything to do with the end of the movie.
There was no emotional investment in it.
No.
I didn't. Again.
No, other than the scene on the boat where she's really upset with him.
I would love to have seen this movie just with the Christoph Waltz character. I would love to know the illegal dealings he had going on to make him so rich. I would love to know how he was getting contraband into the small world. I would love to have seen all the seedy
'cause he talked about
underbelly.
him. So he'd get like a Cuban cigar, get one
Regular
normal
size.
Cuban cigar, and then he
Chop
could
it up.
split it into a ton of tiny cigars and resell it, and so then he had a ton
Make
of money.
Ton of money. And they never really get into that again. It's
No,
just
it
sort
was
of,
just one.
Oof.
Again, it was one of those. This is one conversation he has.
Yep.
Where wasn't there something else? He did Cuban cigars and he did other things like that too. Where he takes one of the large size and he splits it up himself.
Alcohol was the other one, I think.
Was it? I think so. I think you're right.
Wasn't it scotch?
So-
Scotch or
some
vodka
kind of-
or something like that?
Some kind of alcohol because they only needed like a drop.
Just need a little drop, and you can sell it for $5. It's fantastic. So he was raking in the big money, and I would love to have seen a movie about him, and this this sleazy billionaire that's just raking in the cash off this tiny world thing, and then you could have shown some of the other stuff too, but they had to go with Matt Damon, and again, the trailer lies so badly. We even watched the trailer after we watched the movie, so we could refresh just how much of a lie the trailer is.
Yes, because it was just one of those. I need to watch that trailer again. Was it really skipping all that? Oh yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. It's
So it makes
false
it look
advertising.
Like it's a fun movie.
Huh.
It's not a bad movie by any means.
But it's not a funny movie.
It's not, and I'm really glad we didn't decide to watch it with the kids.
I'm glad we didn't go to the theater.
Yes, the preview. Remember, I kept saying that looks like it could be a fun movie to watch with the kids.
But the R rating put us off.
Yes.
Where we're like, yeah, there's something else in there.
Yes.
And, like an R rating on a Friday the 13th, I'm still going. I love that. But on a movie like this, I'm like, why? What for? How? It just didn't. I'm glad we didn't go see it in the theater. But it was, again,
My thinking was I thought it was rated R because it's rated R in the States, where if you say one too many swear words, it's
if you say the F
automatically
word
R.
twice, it's automatically
Right,
rated
so
R.
I figured that's
Stupid.
what it was.
Just stupid. You can tell
I don't know that I ever saw what the Canadian rating was.
I think it's 14A.
Probably from all
Every
the penises
PG
in it.
every PG rating, every PG-13 rating in the States, I wait for the one F word because I know there's gonna be one in there. I'm like, where's it gonna? There it is. There it is. There's the one. And I only know that because of Get Shorty, because Get Shorty it was a PG-13 movie, and they actually said it in the movie. They said you can only say once in a movie if it's PG-13, and that was the only time it's said in the entire movie, which I thought was really funny. It's like, wow, I had no idea. So that was fun. But there you go. We can't tell you to go see it. I would watch it ahead of Zapped. I would probably recommend it more than Zapped.
I recommend most movies ahead of Zapped.
But yeah.
It was interesting. And it brings up a lot of interesting ideas. And I thought so. There are so many movies
But they don't really get fully fleshed out.
Nope.
But whatever.
No, fully fleshed out. They don't get fleshed out at all. Not just
Fine.
not fully at all.
It's
like
fine.
they just bring up these thoughts that are interesting things to think about. Or, one of those, how would this work out?
Yeah.
But they didn't use any of those, so.
No. But there you go. So we agreed on 2 movies tonight, which is highly unusual.
It is.
We both agreed on the rating, which is also highly unusual.
It is.
And so this is a first, and probably the only time that'll ever happen, because I got some more Friday the 13th to load up, so I'll be giving that a higher rating than she will for sure. I'll be looking for the Rebar movies.
What, you want to watch Carousel? Roger and Hammerstein it is.
Anyways, yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning into our review of Downsizing, and I don't know if I would ever watch that again. Probably not. I don't think I could get through it again. I don't think I could get through it again. But if you haven't seen it, if you don't mind having watched all the spoilers, it's interesting enough to watch one time.
I don't think the movie would make any sense off of what we've just said.
Probably
not that it makes sense when you watch it
No.
either.
You're like, wait, what's happening? Where's what? Why? How? What?
Right.
But it's one of those movies. So there you go. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments section what you thought of it. I know there's people who liked it, there's people who didn't. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.